Welcome to the new and refreshed Morning Coffee, where two dynamic hosts bring a fresh perspective to the conversations you love, all over a cup of coffee. Whether you're a longtime listener or just tuning in, get ready for a daily dose of humor, warmth, and fresh energy.
All right, buckle up, because we're diving straight into a wild one today.
Oh, yeah.
This is a legal battle brewing in the gaming world, and it's a big one. I know you've heard of Palworld, right?
Absolutely. Impossible to miss it.
Yeah, it's the Pokemon with guns game. Everyone's talking about it. And honestly,
Right.
who hasn't daydreamed about their little Pikachu packing some serious heat?
It's a heck of a hook.
It really is, and it's worked like a charm. 25 million players. That's not chump change. Palworld is a bona fide hit.
Wild.
But all that success seems to have attracted some unwanted attention, the legal kind, because Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, they just dropped the hammer.
Oh, yeah, here it comes.
Lawsuit time, they're alleging Palworld is stepping all over their patents.
Big yikes.
And to make things even spicier, get this, they filed the lawsuit in Tokyo.
Whoa. Okay, on Nintendo's home turf.
You got it, no messing around here.
Yeah.
We're digging into a few articles on this, but the BBC piece, that one's got the juiciest details, honestly.
Don't hate on us.
And some colorful commentary, too. They really ran with that Pokemon with guns angle. But it gets you thinking, right?
It really does.
25 million Palworld players versus, well, Nintendo.
That's David and Goliath right there.
Right. We're talking indie studio versus a titan. So what's the story?
Let's hear it.
Well, according to the articles, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, they claim that Palworld is infringing on some of their patents.
Which, I mean, no surprise there. Nintendo is notoriously protective of their stuff.
Oh, for real?
Oh, huge. Especially Pokemon. Like, they've gone after people for way less than this, believe me. They are not playing around.
Wow, okay, that's intense. So this is serious business then, huh?
You bet it is. High-stakes stuff.
I gotta say, though, one thing really surprised me. Pocketpair, they're the studio behind Palworld. They're claiming they thought they were in the clear legally.
Really?
Yeah, they said they even went through all the legal checks, or at least that's what they're saying.
See, I don't know about that. Nintendo's legal team, they don't miss much.
That's true, they do have a reputation.
Oh, yeah, big time. Remember that $15 million lawsuit they just won? And that was just last week.
No, I missed that one. Who was it against?
Some Chinese developers, their game was, well, let's just say it was a little too inspired by Pokemon.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Nintendo's track record is pretty clear. They're not afraid to go after anyone they think is copying them.
So Pocketpair's in the hot seat now.
For sure, especially since they're saying this is draining their time and resources, Classic indie underdog story.
Right, and I read a quote from their CEO. They said they're having to dedicate so much time to this lawsuit, time they could be using to, actually make the game better. It's rough.
Oh, I totally get it. It's tough, It's easy to sympathize with the little guy in this situation. But honestly, this whole passing legal checks thing, it's not exactly a simple yes or no.
How so?
Well, patent law, it's a beast, a real tangled web. Nintendo probably has a very specific case they're building.
You think so? So it's not just like a general, this game is too similar thing.
No way. They got to have something concrete, specific elements of Palworld they're targeting. It's not about the overall vibe, it's the nitty-gritty details.
Interesting. Okay, so let's talk specifics then. What kind of stuff could they be going after? What are we talking about here?
Right. So, unfortunately, none of the articles really dig into which patents Nintendo's claiming are being infringed.
Oh, so they're keeping it under wraps.
Exactly. Which makes sense. It's a classic legal tactic. Why show your hand too early? Makes Pocketpair play defense blindly.
That's rough. So how are we supposed to figure out what's going on?
We got to read between the lines, look at what we do know, and see if we can connect the dots.
So we're playing detective now. I'm into it. But seriously, how do we even start to unpack this without knowing the specifics of the lawsuit?
Well, it's all about the gameplay, right? Nintendo's got to be targeting the core of what Palworld is, the stuff that makes it tick.
You mean like the whole catching, training, and battling creatures thing?
Bingo. That's the heart of Pokemon. And it's pretty clear Palworld drew some inspiration there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying they straight up copied the code, but Nintendo patented a lot of those core mechanics years ago. Things like how breeding works, how abilities are inherited, even the logic behind evolution. It's all very specific and protected.
So even if Palworld's monsters look different, if those behind-the-scenes mechanics are too close for comfort, Nintendo could have a case.
Exactly. Imagine it like this. You can write a song about love and heartbreak, right? Plenty of people do. But you can't just lift the melody from someone else's hit song and change the lyrics. Copyright infringement. Game mechanics work the same way.
Okay, that makes sense. So what can Pocketpair actually do at this point? It sounds like they're in a tough spot.
Well, they're trying the whole David versus Goliath approach, emphasizing how small they are, how much this lawsuit is hurting them. It's a classic PR move, and hey, it might get some public support on their side.
Yeah, who doesn't love an underdog story? But legally speaking, what are their options?
Well, their best bet is to try and prove a negative, basically. They have to convince a court that Palworld's core mechanics are substantially different from Pokemon's, that any similarities are just part of the genre, not outright copying.
Man, that sounds incredibly difficult. Like, how do you prove you didn't do something?
Right. It's a tough spot to be in. They might have to bring in expert witnesses, game developers who can dissect the code, compare design documents, really get into the weeds to show that Palworld is its own beast.
Okay, so let's say they manage to pull that off, best case scenario. What happens? Does Nintendo just back down?
It's possible. It wouldn't be the first time a smaller company won a David versus Goliath IP battle. Remember that whole Scrolls versus Skyrim thing?
Vaguely refresh my memory.
Mojang, the folks who make Minecraft, they were making a game called Scrolls. ZeniMax, the company behind Skyrim, they sued, claiming trademark infringement. But Mojang, they fought back, and they actually won.
No way. So there's hope for Palworld yet.
There's always hope. But let's be real, Nintendo is a different beast. They're known for being extremely protective of their IPs.
True. So let's say, worst case scenario for Pocketpair, what happens if Nintendo wins this thing?
Well, Palworld could be in serious trouble. They might be forced to make significant changes to the game, even pull it from the market entirely. Plus, there could be some hefty fines involved. It wouldn't be pretty.
Oof, that's rough. This whole thing has really gotten me thinking, where do we draw the line between inspiration and infringement? It feels like a gray area, especially in games.
It absolutely is a gray area, and that's what makes this case so fascinating and honestly a little scary for smaller developers. If Nintendo wins, it could have a chilling effect on creativity in the industry.
Right. Why take the risk of making something even remotely similar to a big-name game if you could get sued into oblivion?
Exactly. It's a delicate balance. On one hand, you have big companies protecting their creations, which makes sense. But on the other hand, you don't want to stifle innovation. We need fresh ideas, new takes on old genres.
No doubt. Well, folks, there you have it. It's a wild case with huge implications, and we'll be following it closely. Big thanks to you, our amazing listeners, for joining us on this deep dive. It's been real. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and for the love of all that is good in gaming, stay legal.